Nordic walking isn't just some Scandinavian leisure activity for retirees. It's one of the most underestimated full-body movement patterns that can completely transform your cardiovascular system and muscle activation. Most people think it's just walking with sticks, but I'm going to show you what really happens when you start using this technique consistently. The first thing that changes is your oxygen efficiency, and this is massive. Regular walking only engages about 70% of your muscles, which means your cardiovascular system isn't working nearly as hard as it could be. But the moment you add those pulls and start using proper Nordic walking technique, you're suddenly activating up to 90% of your body's muscle mass. Your heart has to pump blood to your arms, your core, your back, your legs, everything at once. This isn't just about working harder, it's about training your cardiovascular system to become more efficient at delivering oxygen throughout your entire body. Studies show that Nordic walking increases oxygen consumption by 20 to 25% compared to regular walking at the same pace. Your heart gets stronger, your lung capacity improves, and your circulatory system becomes more efficient at delivering nutrients to working muscles. But here's what most people don't realize. This increased muscle activation creates something called peripheral heart action. Your muscles are essentially acting as secondary pumps, helping push blood back to your heart. This takes pressure off your cardiovascular system while simultaneously making it stronger. You're building cardiovascular endurance without the joint-crushing impact of running or the soul-sucking monotony of stationary cardio. Have you ever noticed how some people look like they're fighting gravity with every step they take? Heavy footfalls, slouched shoulders, like each step is a struggle against their own body weight. That's what happens when you never engage your upper body in your walking pattern. Nordic walking completely changes this dynamic by turning your arms into active contributors rather than passive passengers. Every time you plant those poles and push through, you're using your lats, your triceps, your shoulders, and your core to actually propel yourself forward. This creates what movement specialists call reciprocal activation, your entire body working in coordinated rhythm to create efficient movement. Your posture automatically improves because your core has to engage to transfer power from your arms to your legs. After just a couple weeks of Nordic walking, you'll notice your regular walking feels effortless. Your stride becomes longer and more powerful, your shoulders naturally pull back, and you start moving with the kind of coordinated rhythm that makes people wonder if you were a natural athlete. And once your movement patterns start integrating, something incredible happens to your metabolic system. Nordic walking turns your body into a fat-burning machine without the stress and recovery demands of high-intensity exercise. You're working at a moderate intensity that keeps you in the optimal fat-burning zone while engaging massive amounts of muscle tissue. This combination creates what exercise physiologists call sustainable metabolic stress. You're burning significantly more calories than regular walking, but you can maintain the pace for extended periods without exhausting your nervous system or creating excessive muscle damage. Studies show Nordic walking can burn 400 to 700 calories per hour depending on your pace and body weight, compared to 200 to 300 calories for regular walking. The beauty is that this isn't grinding, soul-crushing cardio. You're outdoors, moving naturally, and the poles make the effort feel easier even though you're working harder. Your body learns to use fat as fuel efficiently. Your metabolism stays elevated for hours after your walk, and you build endurance without beating yourself up. Here's what nobody talks about when it comes to Nordic walking. It completely transforms your joint loading patterns and can actually reverse joint degeneration. Most forms of exercise put stress on your joints through impact or heavy loading. Running pounds your knees, weightlifting compresses your spine, even cycling can create hip problems. But Nordic walking does something unique. It reduces the impact on your lower body joints while simultaneously strengthening the muscles that support them. The poles absorb up to 30% of the impact that would normally go through your knees, hips, and lower back. But unlike using a cane or walker, which just provides support, the poles force you to actively engage your upper body muscles. This creates a perfect storm of joint protection and muscle strengthening that you can't get from any other form of exercise. Your quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes all get stronger from the propulsive movement, but without the repetitive impact stress. Your shoulders, arms, and core get a serious workout, but in a functional movement pattern that improves rather than destroys joint health. This is why Nordic walking is being prescribed by orthopedic doctors for people with knee arthritis, hip problems, and lower back issues. But here's where it gets really interesting. Nordic walking creates what I call active meditation in motion. Unlike running where you're constantly managing impact and fatigue, or gym workouts where you're focused on sets and reps, Nordic walking puts you in a natural rhythm that calms your nervous system while challenging your body. The bilateral movement pattern, right arm with left leg, left arm with right leg, creates a cross-lateral activation that enhances brain function and coordination. You're outdoors, breathing fresh air, moving in a natural pattern that humans have been doing for thousands of years. This combination reduces stress hormones like cortisol while increasing feel-good chemicals like endorphins and serotonin. In just a moment, I'm going to show you the most common mistakes that prevent people from getting these benefits. But first, let me tell you about something that completely surprised me. Nordic walking actually improves your balance and proprioception better than most dedicated balance training programs. Every step requires you to coordinate 4 points of contact with the ground, your 2 feet, and your 2 poles. Your nervous system has to constantly adjust to maintain stability while moving forward. This trains your proprioceptors, those sensors that tell your brain where your body is in space, to become more sensitive and responsive. Over time, this enhanced body awareness carries over into everything else you do. You become more stable on uneven surfaces, quicker to react if you start to trip, and more confident moving through your environment. Your ankle stability improves, your hip control gets better, and your overall movement quality reaches a level that most people only dream of. There's also a confidence factor that's hard to quantify, but impossible to ignore. When you can walk for miles without getting winded, when your joints feel strong and stable, when your posture is naturally upright and powerful, you move through the world differently. You take on challenges you might have avoided. You feel capable of more physical activity, and you carry yourself with the quiet confidence that comes from having a body that works well. Now, let's talk about the mistakes that keep people from experiencing these transformations. The biggest error is treating the poles like walking sticks instead of propulsion tools. If you're just touching the ground with the poles for balance, you're missing the entire point. You need to actively push through the poles to create forward momentum and engage your upper body muscles. The second mistake is using poles that are the wrong height. If your poles are too tall, you'll be reaching up and creating shoulder tension. If they're too short, you won't be able to get proper leverage. The rule is about 70% of your height, but more importantly, when you plant the pole, your elbow should be at roughly a 90-degree angle. The third mistake is overthinking the technique and making it too complicated. Nordic walking should feel natural and rhythmic. Don't try to force some perfect form that you saw in a video. Start with your natural walking rhythm and gradually incorporate the pole movement. That one is honestly something I had to remind myself of when I first started. I was so focused on perfect technique that I forgot to just enjoy the movement. You're probably wondering, this sounds incredible, but how do I get started and what equipment do I need? Don't worry, I've got you covered. You'll need Nordic walking poles, which are different from hiking poles or ski poles. They have specific rubber tips for pavement and removable tips for trails, plus they're sized specifically for this type of movement. Start with 20 to 30 minutes at a comfortable pace, focusing on getting the rhythm down rather than going fast or far. The technique will become natural within a few sessions, and then you can start increasing duration and intensity. Aim for 3 to 4 sessions per week to start, and you can build up to daily walks as your fitness improves. The beauty of Nordic walking is that it's infinitely scalable. You can make it as easy or as challenging as you want by adjusting your pace, the terrain, or how aggressively you use the poles. It's suitable for everyone from people recovering from injuries to serious athletes looking for active recovery. By the time you've been Nordic walking consistently for a month, the changes will be remarkable. Your cardiovascular fitness will have improved dramatically. Your posture will be naturally upright, your joint health will be better, and you'll have discovered a form of exercise that you actually look forward to doing. Share this video with someone who's ready to transform their relationship with cardio exercise.